Jazakallah, Sadaqallah Azim. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया Muhammad Rashid Saab for the wonderful recitation of Naat Rasool Maqbool Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. For everybody who's out there, welcome back, and for everyone who just tuned into PTV World, ladies and gentlemen, you witnessing our Iftar transmission with the name of Ramazan, Pakistan. I am Shahzad Khan. With me, I'm really lucky that I've been joined by Ms. Sadaf Ali Khan as well. We have a new set of people over here inside the studios, or guests rather. I would want to introduce them one by one, and we'll be, inshallah, in conversation with them. So first up, we're very lucky that we have been joined by the Chief Executive Officer of Tahsil Quran. He happens to be Mr. Sanaullah Kayani. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
How are you, Sana bhai?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, and wonderful to have you over here amongst us as well.
Thank you so much. You gave me the opportunity to talk on this.
Opportunity is all yours, and it's Ramazan Mubarak. Thank you so much for joining us. Alongside Mr. Sanaullah Kayani Saab, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the gem of Pakistan, and there's a reason why I'm actually referring to him as the gem of Pakistan, because he truly deserves to be at the forefront of artificial intelligence and what artificial intelligence can actually do for all of us, may it be technological advancements. And this is that industrial revolution which we really need to be a part of. We need to be on that bandwagon. He's been actually given or awarded with the Pride of Performance Award as well. He is the Chairman, National Center of Artificial Intelligence at NUST. He is Professor Dr. Yasir Ayaz. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. And I think when we look at you, this is where, you know, I remember Iqbal, जहाँ पे वो कहते हैं कि जवानों को पीरों का उस्ताद कर. So I think you are an epitome of that. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you.
Wonderful to be here.
Yeah, likewise. And not just that. I mean, obviously, where we speak about artificial intelligence, I do believe that artificial intelligence at the forefront of climate change can actually help us quite a lot. Probably may it be in predictions, may it be in what we really need to do in terms of saving our planet. And to speak about it, you know, people who are actually taking climate change head on is environmentalists themselves as well. We're very lucky that we've been joined by Dr. Ijaz Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Morning show में ये चलो यहीं मुलाकात हो गई हमारी, and जैसे जैसे सदर रमजान गुजर रहा है, मेरा जो अस्सलाम वालेकुम है बहुत अरबी में हो गया. पहले हमारा अस्सलाम वालेकुम is assalamu alaikum, but now it is assalamu alaikum.
This is the beauty of Ramzan. Ramzan is actually taking over you, and you know, you're so blessed to be a part of this Ramzan transmission, and we are so blessed to have you here.
Alhamdulillah.
As well.
Thank you so much. So let's get started with the conversation. I'll move on to Mr. Sanaullah Kayani first of all. So sir, first of all, we would want you to let our viewers know in 46 different countries what Tahsil Quran is all about. We do know the literal meaning of it, but what is your organization doing and what you as the Chief Executive Officer is doing?
Actually, my journey was started in 2014. When I was started this Tahsil Quran, that I would teach the students all over the world. When it was not very common that the online teaching was not before the COVID. So I started this journey, and there are a lot of Huffaz and reciters. Those came out from this institute, and they are now performing in their social life, and they are contributing to their community, and as a good human being, as a good Muslim, and a successor of this ummah.
And how can we become a part of the Tahsil Quran if we talk about
it? Definitely, you can join us to learn, inshallah. So you can learn the Quran online with us. We have good teachers from around the world, especially from Pakistan, from Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and even from the US as well.
USA?
We have few teachers
so
from
are we tapping onto a lot of dollars over here, or are we not?
With yes, definitely. We are contributing in this economy as well.
And you know, sir, why it is very essential for people to kind of learn about you and your success story is because of the fact that for a longer period of time over here, how we actually refer to our Maulvis and ulama was probably not from that segment where they were well-to-do. Now imagine with the advancement of technology, we have seen how Islam has actually spread. Not just that, there's better understanding amongst people. People would want to learn. I do know my sister who lives in UK, you know, and her children. Do you know how they learned Quran? Online courses and classes and whatnot. So I think it's a beautiful facility that you've offered for people. You're revolutionizing this industry.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, it's great. Now I'll move on to Professor Saab as well. So Professor Saab, we do know how important now artificial intelligence is. We do see, you know, technological advancements. We do see how in Singapore 70% of the workforce is being laid off. and the reason actually happens to be artificial intelligence. At the helm of affairs, where you happen to be the chairman of National Center for Artificial Intelligence, where is Pakistan in coping up with artificial intelligence?
In terms of jobs, by the way, since you touched that topic, so McKinsey says that 133 million new jobs are going to be created by AI in the coming few years, and 400 million jobs are actually going to go out. So that's the statistics. But actually, I think what McKinsey's survey could not actually contain.
220 million to gain, sir.
Yeah, I guess more, 220 million around.
Yeah.
But I guess that a lot of new jobs that will be being created by artificial intelligence are not yet, really, people cannot imagine them yet. Like prompt engineering, for example. Until LLMs came in, nobody really knew that there could be a job called prompt engineering, right? But AI is actually an essentiality, and in Pakistan also, if we want to improve the quality of service of products that we want to give to the people, if we want to improve, for example, medical diagnosis, if we want to quicken the pace of our decisions made in the judiciary, if we want to improve our training processes, we have to inevitably rely on this technology. And if we don't make it ourselves, then we will have to buy this technology from abroad, like we are buying iPhones, like we are buying, a lot of, cameras and everything
already for ChatGPT and whatnot. If you want the latest LLMA model, I think what you need to do is you need to pay from your credit card, and only then you get it. So what about being indigenous with artificial intelligence? Do you think that we have the strength to do that, the capacity to do that?
Oh, certainly. For example, the couple of open source models like DeepSeek and Llama, etc. So particularly for Llama, we already have an on-premises implementation where you don't have to log into the Facebook server. You can log into the local server at NUST, and you can access it and you can use it for any kind of question and answers. And this is, I think, the 70 billion parameters, one that we have actually. So it's a pretty good, pretty intensive large language model. Also, we have trained some of our own applications using Llama. So for instance, in one application, we're recreating some of the lost heritage. We've started out with Texela because it has a big following around the world. And some of the old temples and heritage sites that we've created, we make avatars in the simulation. So you can immerse yourself into virtual reality, talk to that digital avatar, and that digital avatar uses large language models at the back of it. So it gives you a lot of information in a very soft, human-like way, unlike what it used to be like searching on Google and all the boring method of learning.
Towards the end, you feel like actually saying thank you to it as well. You're like, okay, thank you so much for your help. It was needed, and because now you really do not have to open another tab, go look for something else, look for an article, copy it over here. It's just one window, write whatever you want. But my question is now, for a lot of models that I've seen is they say that, there's this description which says that, that my information is valid till 2024 or 2022. Now, for whatever information is available on internet, that is being used by artificial intelligence, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Do you think that information is authentic?
Not all information is authentic, of course, because but the majority of the information, because people will create fake information, but that will contain a part of the total information going into the machine learning model. By default, the machine learning model will bias towards the majority of the information. So unless the majority of the information has fake information, the AI model will result in the correct answers. Yes.
And there's a
but
reason
how to
why
know
use
that,
this.
this is wrong information, this is correct
you need
information?
to put in your research now, because imagine that, we spoke about Europe the other day. So the Muslim architecture is still exists in Europe, right? But what they say is that, that, hey, this is our architecture and whatnot. So I think people really need to be smart with using AI, which is why prompt engineering is important, so that you get the desired result.
You have to cross-question AI. Like
फिर भी समझ नहीं आ रहा अभी तक कि AI क्या है? So can you get a better understanding?
We have recently come up with a new training for how to use AI. This one is specially designed for executives. It's going to be offered at the end of May or the beginning of June. And this training in particular talks about how to use effectively generating AI, where to trust, where not to trust, what prompts to ask, what not to ask. So compared to the old way of searches, for example, where if you came upon a wrong page and you just read that page and you got that, assimilated that wrong information, with AI, with very easy, couple of more prompts, you can cross-question it and arrive at the right information.
But do you think that we need to be more equipped to, interact with AI in future?
We certainly do, because as we were just talking before the start of the transmission, that as the information cluster is growing around the world and people are getting more and more digital information, for example, when you make a new medical product, for instance, and you send it to a hospital for usage, just for the clinical trials, the number of data points is 5.38 million. For one new product. This is called a phase 3 clinical trial. Also, for example, when we want to test a new vaccine, for example, so AI even suggests to you that if you've tested it in this demographic and this demographic, which part of demographics are yet missing in the test. So you have to test it in these and these and these areas. Also, it reduces the chances of fake information being given. For example, if some test is being run on a drug, for instance, and somebody might hide results. So if there is an AI-based system that on real time is monitoring everything and putting it into a dashboard and increasing the visibility, there's very less chance of something wrong happening.
Exactly.
We will be talking about environment, so let me, pitch a little bit of AI for that too. As you know, in the beginning you said.
I was about to ask you that.
So, for instance, we have an application that looks at the tree cover, and for instance, how the tree cover has changed, over the period of time.
And how it has reduced.
Yeah, reduced or increased, because there was the billion tree tsunami, and like there was a project by Serena and others as well, where we look at the cloud cover in various areas, and we see whether it's increasing or decreasing, and
Is it increasing?
In some cases, yes.
Thank you so much for being honest as well. Let me move on to Dr. Ijaz now. So Ijaz sir, with so much of plantation, just yesterday we actually were in conversation with the DG Environment of Capital Development Authority, and she said that paper mulberry trees will be cut from Islamabad, and then we will be obviously planting a lot more other trees as well, which is, the number is high, it's 80,000. Do you think that that this will be a good thing to do, if we are to protect the environment, to cut off trees, then have newer trees installed, and then obviously for them to grow will take another year as well? Do you think that it's a...
Well, I think to start with, when we started, planting these trees, I mean, like the seedlings were broadcasted. At that time, I think there would have been some research to identify which species are good for the environment.
Or are indigenous to the area.
So now what happened is the seeds have actually integrated into the soil structure, and then even if we remove all the paper mulberry trees, they targeted I think 10,000.
10,000, yes.
And most probably 10,000 new will germinate, because the environment itself is quite conducive to those species. But yes, I think there is a need to actually start doing it at the moment, and it has to be done on emergency basis, because people are suffering. There are quality of life is suffering. Even at some point, some people died also because of this pollen allergy. But I think it will take more time to bring back the same vegetation, the same forest cover, because we are expanding our cities and we are expanding concrete jungles. And unfortunately, most of the areas where we had forest traditionally, they are being converted. Even right now, at the moment, I mean, like near this H8 graveyard, the massive tree plantation was done, and the mature trees were being cut because it was, it is being used for housing EV vehicles, etc., depot of EV vehicles. So any plantation which will be done right now will take 10 to 15 years. Best is to actually grow the native species, because we should not...
They're saying that they'll be, growing figs, they'll be growing locust, and some
even then,
fruit
to become mature, to become proper size, I think 6-7 years are
but that's the best part. What they're saying? They're saying is that that since we are taking out grown-up trees as well, so what we're going to do is that we're going to bring in grown-up trees as well, so that they can be planted, and in a year's time they'll start.
I think that can help in accelerating this process. But normally plant growth is quite slow. Native species are quite slow, but I think we should actually start doing it as soon as possible. Otherwise, we'll be talking next week or next year also the same thing, and then ultimately nothing will happen.
And it was Forest Day yesterday. So, what can a normal person do in order to preserve the forest, in order to, have a cleaner, greener surrounding, because that's very much necessary?
Plant forest, the best thing about plants, anything which is, like green in the form of plants, they absorb carbon dioxide, which is the main challenge at the moment. We're talking about global warming, we are talking about carbon trading, we are talking about carbon zero, etc. So, any plant which we plant, whether it's an indoor plant, whether it's like in a lawn or fruit tree or any tree, I think that will help in reducing the impact, the negative impact of carbon dioxide. Because all the plants, they absorb carbon dioxide and they emit oxygen. So at least at household level, indoor, in offices, we should actually, instead of having artificial plants, there we should grow like some of the, even for decoration purposes, we can even start cactus. At least like something will be taken out from the environment.
Exactly. Dr. Yasir, if we talk about like the climate change and AI, how is it interrelated? How can we take help from AI to have like less of climate change and adverse effects of it? How to keep ourselves safe?
You see, we've been talking about climate change and how to curtail the emissions and everything for quite a long time around the world, and at the same time global warming has still been taking place, and whatever we have been doing, the emissions have still been increasing. So first of all, the question is how to quantify. Can we quantify, for example, emissions being made by a certain factory? How much green do we need in the environment to actually reverse that? Number two, do we have a way to monitor, for example, how much emissions they're really making in real time? So all these things require artificial intelligence tools to actually first develop the models, like for example a certain tree, how it impacts the environment, how it's and how many of these are really there in the environment, to verify them as well. So you need artificial intelligence tools to monitor that, to make the models for that, and to set the parameters and standards for that. Right? Also, like looking at the trees and looking at the emissions is one thing. For example, looking at fisheries, for instance, we ourselves have another algorithm, for example, which, for example, you can use to track, for example, what sort of fish species are there in, you can leave a small robot underwater, and the camera and the system on board on it can actually detect what sort of fish are there in a certain water body, right? So how it's affecting the fish, for instance.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I would like to add.
Sure.
Also another aspect actually related to digital waste.
Sir.
Digital waste is becoming a bigger issue at the moment, and then there are studies which says the internet is, I think, among top 10 polluters, contributes into the global warming, because like the electricity, the power, the gadgets, that is being used. One email that we send, actually it cost 4 grams of carbon dioxide.
Really?
So yeah, so
it is actually the electricity, the consumption of electricity that is labeled to that. So, but if we start looking at, for
servers,
example,
or an
I think with mining as well, so with a lot of cryptocurrency being mined, there's a lot of consumption of electricity. I do know for a fact. But thank you so much. I think that people really need to kind of come across.
Here's one thing that I would like to add here, that if we start creating electricity in environmental friendly ways, then you cannot relate.
So we've got solars, लेकिन अब वो हमारा यूनिट इतना सस्ता लेते हैं, अपना इतना महंगा देते हैं, तो मसला पड़ा है. But I'll move on to Sana Saab over here. So Sana Saab, with Tartila Quran, I do believe that that for people who would want to have better understanding of Quran, and if there's, unfortunately, if there's a disagreement in between ulama, and for all of those people who are out there, making sure that they actually teach and give out these teachings of our religion, Islam, don't you think that artificial intelligence can actually contribute many folds in reducing कि यार इस continent में इस बारे में बहस होती है, इसमें इस बारे में बहस होती है, and आप conclude कर सकते हैं, अच्छा समझ सकते हैं.
Yeah, definitely. Artificial intelligence has played a good role. We have now like.
तरतीले कुरान की एक अपनी application हो.
Yeah, we are working on it, and already there are applications. They detect they listen your recitations, they detect your mistakes, and then they tell you that okay, you are making mistakes here, and this is the way you need to correct it.
True.
So like this is, you can implement or incorporate artificial intelligence in every field of life.
And we need to do that, and we need to do
definitely.
that as well.
Yes.
And are you planning to do?
Yes,
do
we are working
with the right
on it.
person sitting right next to you.
Sure, we can collaborate with them,
We can
inshallah.
definitely collaborate. This reminds me that when I was doing my PhD, I was studying in Japan at that time, back in 2006, 2007. My primary source for actually studying about hadith, for instance, was the website of University of Southern California Muslim Student Association, because they had digitized the books, 4 books of hadith, and they were like Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abi Dawood, and I think Muwatta Malik. So 4 of them were online, and that's where I could actually search and read about hadith, and it contributed to increasing my knowledge. So the more we bring and make these technologies accessible via digital means, they'll be more accessible to the younger generations, and they'll be able to, because not everybody has all the books, or not everybody goes to the library to look for the whole book and to study from there.
I think it's a great thing that you've stated over here, but for you to state that in 2006 and 7 that you were a PhD student, are you using artificial intelligence to age backwards? Because it does not look like as if you were doing PhD in 2007. I actually thought that you might be the youngest ever chairman that I've actually come across, and so humble and good looking and have that grip onto that as well. But let me move on to Ijaz over. So Ijaz sahab, with artificial intelligence, you know, whatever research which was getting into, you know, looking into whether, you know, how climate change is adversely affecting this globe, I think it has made our jobs easier and world over as well. So how do you think that in days to come we will see environmentalists taking good advantage of artificial intelligence?
Well, I think the basic of any you know, like form of information is research. So unfortunately, the data that the analysis or the whatever function you want artificial intelligence to do is based on the information that is being provided to the system. So I think the problem in Pakistan generally is the data collection. Reliable data is not available to that extent, unfortunately. Even if we talk about the overall population of Pakistan, we are not sure whether it is, you know, like how many million, how many billion do we have. So that is one of the actually shortcoming at the moment, that we need to, you know, like collect the reliable data. All the universities, all the research institutions need to focus on that. The only reliable data that I can think about is the temperature data that is available, because there are many weather stations which are functional, working in different part of Pakistan. But other than that, if we see any, you know, like what is the sea level, maybe we don't have that kind of for last many decades. Similarly, the precipitation, yes, we will have data. But how many species do we have? What is the status? What is the population? What are the pressures? So all these things are, you know, like there are many gaps. So unfortunately, the artificial intelligence is wonderful aspect that we feel that can actually speed up the whole thinking process, the thought process. But we also need to look into what kind of information gaps do we have and how we can fill in those gaps.
And all over the world, people have faced this problem. But you know, when they've started with this, there are ways to collect data better, right? So this should not discourage us from deploying artificial intelligence. And actually, it highlights the need for, you know, putting more information in, getting more reliable data, organizing it, annotating it in a form compatible for AI. And here's the catch, that if we really want to get onto this bandwagon, then every department in Pakistan must have at least a committee. If not a dedicated, you know, section or cell or something, they must at least have a committee.
To
think about how to use emerging technologies and AI to actually, you know.
Thank you so much. And I do feel your pain as well in saying that, but thank you so much, Dr. Yasser, for being with us. Thank you so much, Ijaz Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. Sana Saab will stay with us, you know, for further a little longer as well, so that we could actually take out some more of Tartil Quran. But for everybody who's out there, you do know for a fact that how we are giving away gift hampers, and to get a gift hamper, all
really
you need to do is answer our question.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. So yesterday, the question that we asked from each and every one of you was, what should a Muslim do if they miss fasting due to illness and are not able to make up the fast later? So the options were: feed the poor for each day missed, perform extra prayers, make dua for forgiveness, or for a sacrifice. The correct answer was feed the poor for each day missed.